Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to finish off today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. If you have your own song you'd like to submit for special selections, you can find a link to do so in the description below. Today's special selection comes at us from Jonathan. It says, Tom Waits, the piano has been drinking. More Tom Waits! This time showing off his humorous side. Normally wouldn't recommend a fan-made music video, but this one goes so well with the song and doesn't distract from it. So we got some Tom Waits, The Piano Has Been Drinking. Let's dive into this and see what's going on.
The piano has been drinking. My necktie is asleep. And the combo went back to New York. The jukebox says to take a leak. And the carpet needs a haircut. And the spotlight looks like a prison break, 'cause the telephone's out of cigarettes, and the balcony is on the make, and the piano has been drinking. The piano has been drinking, and the menus are all freezing, and the light man's blind in one eye, and he can't see out of the other, and the piano tune has got a hearing aid, and he showed up with his mother, and the piano has been drinking. The piano has been drinking, as the bouncer is a sumo wrestler, cream puff Casper milk toast, and the owner is a mental midget with a IQ of a fence post, 'cause the piano has been drinking. The piano has been drinking, and you can't find your waitress with a Geiger counter, and she hates you and your friends, and you just can't get served without her. And the box office is drooling, and the bar stools are on fire, and the newspapers were fooling, and the ashtrays have retired, 'cause the piano has been drinking. The piano has been drinking. The piano has been drinking. Not me. Not me. Not me. Not me. Not me.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I've really been pushing past the 40-minute mark for a lot of the reactions in the past couple of months, kind of my minimum now, but I mean, this is a very surface level song. I'm not sure there's a lot to read into it. So I'm going to start with the lyrics first because I feel like they are the most important part, and then we're going to take that concept and pair it to what the piano is doing. and I'm hoping I can remember what the piano's doing. I mean, obviously the piano's been drinking. So this song is a series of observations about inanimate objects, mostly inanimate objects, doing things that are obviously not what they're doing, but it's possibly what this pianist is seeing because, contrary to the statement, the piano's been drinking, not me, I'm pretty sure this dude is the one who's drunk. So he states the piano has been drinking, his necktie is asleep, the jukebox went to the bathroom, the carpet needs a haircut, uh, the menus are freezing. I like some of these lines, like the lightman's blind in one eye, I can't see out the other, and the piano tuner has got a hearing aid. So, like, there's obviously some comical elements to this. I think the most interesting part, though, because a lot of this is just like, haha, the dude's drunk, he's seeing purple elephants kind of vibe. But I love this one section right here. He says, cause the bouncer's a sumo wrestler, cream puff Casper milk toast. And basically what he's saying is the bouncer's a big guy, but he's nothing. He's got nothing on me. This is that liquid courage speaking. Calls him a cream puff, which would be a pushover. Casper's, I'm going to assume, well, I don't know. Like, I assumed a ghost. I think the ghost was also the picture that was utilized for that music video. But I mean, is Casper also, I don't think that is a word by itself. I'm pretty sure it's alluding to the ghost because Casper is a friendly ghost, right? Yeah. So I believe he's alluding to the fact that he's a softy, he's friendly like a ghost, and milquetoast just means someone who's timid or shy. So he's basically saying the bouncer's nothing. Like he's supposed to be defending the door, he's this big guy, but underneath the facade, nah, I got him, right? And he calls the owner stupid right after that, which I mean, the person serving you drinks, allowing you to sit in their establishment and be a patron of their services, that's not the person you want to insult. They can kick you out. Now you've lost access to your drinks. So he is the person who is being more, what is that? Presenting more than they are, not the bouncer. He's the one who's making the stupid mistakes, not the owner being an idiot. Although, for what it is, he might be right about these, but the owner might be stupid and the bouncer might be a cakewalk to get past. And I think it's interesting that, past this, we move past this idea. We start out with some of just comical observations that his drunken haze is causing him to see or think about, but then we move into some stuff like the bouncer and the owner, and then we look at the waitress. He says that the waitress hates him and his friends, and it sucks because he can't get served without her. Like that's it's not like he can go get his own drinks. He's got to wait for the waitress to come, but the waitress don't like him, so it feels like she never comes around. Can't find her. And like he's really, to me, it's beginning to paint the picture that he's not just drunk, that he's being annoyingly drunk in public. And it starts out a bit more comical, I suppose you could say, just kind of played for laughs. But as we get further into the song, we can actually see that it's a bit more sad and annoying. This character that he's portraying, being out in public like this. Um, I really like how he leans into this with his vocal delivery. Right, he slurs his words. He really hammers in on the depth of the notes, really getting a nice warm tone around it, which I mean is also just kind of what Tom Waits does, but I feel like he leans into that natural ability he has to really get these warm undertones to his notes that he hits, just to make it feel like somebody whose vocal cords have even loosened up from so much drinking. They're so loosey goosey, their muscles are so relaxed that even their vocal cords seem to be dropping in pitch. Um, and he gets some of that grit that I just associate with his singing. A very down to earth person of the earth kind. What is that? Person of the Someone down to earth, like your average Joe, right? Just kind of drinking in a bar. Um, and that's what's going on here, right? We have a drunk person possibly playing the piano, possibly just sitting at a table, singing while being drunk and trying to maybe not necessarily convince everyone else that he's not the drunk one, but definitely singing about that angle. It's not him, it's everything else. Everything else is the weird stuff. Everything else is messed up, not him. Which I wonder if that might also be the other side of this. You know, we've talked in the past that Tom Waits talks about the common man. We have that, um, like the common man and common problems. The last one we checked out from him was about the sex worker who sent the postcard to an old John or something like that. Um, and like it seemed very positive and upbeat that this person who was down on their luck originally made it out of that. And then we had the script flipped on us that actually wasn't the situation, and they're still kind of down on the luck, and they're kind of hitting them up for money now, hoping they can help out a little. And I wonder if some of that kind of shines through here as well. This on the surface is about, somebody who's just drinking in public and trying to say, no, don't cut me off. I haven't even had anything to drink. The piano's the one that's been drinking, not me. But, if we look under the surface and look at a metaphorical side of this, could this be about people who often blame others for their shortcomings? A lot of this seems to be projection, especially once we get to the way that he describes the waitress and the owner and the bouncer. Is this a song that is metaphorically about somebody who is not the greatest person but can't come to the realization that that's who they are? They think everybody else has always been the problem, and because of that, they can't fix themselves, which could be seen in this light as continuing to always come back to the bar and getting drunk. You know, I highly doubt a waitress is going to hate you and your friends that much that you can't even get served the first time you're being belligerent. This sounds like somebody who's a repeat customer and people hate when he comes around. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. Um, so yeah, I don't know if that second layer, that metaphorical aspect was intended, but I'm kind of getting it and I like it. I like having that second layer to it. Not that I think Tom Waits' songs need more depth. I think one of the great things about him is that they're easily recognizable and easily relatable. Right? He utilizes simplicity for effect, and he's excellent at doing that. No matter what he does, anything that he writes that has a simplistic element to it is always done to amplify the track, not to diminish it. And that's on display here. It's a dude in a piano, and the simplicity is intentional to it. But I do like this added depth. I really do. Now I want to tie this back to the piano bit real quick because lyrics aside, you look at the vocals and they're not great. Intentionally, of course. It's designed to sound like a drunk person trying to slur his way through a song. But we look at the musicality of it, right? We have the slurring of notes. We have an extremely repetitive phrase, right? There isn't really any breaks. It's just da 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 da, and it just repeats over and over and over and over and over. Um, and it has that like core simplicity to it that would kind of ties in line with what you would expect someone drunk to do, right? They're lacking the mental capacity to come up with things more complex. So we have a simple line that is repeated ad nauseum for the entire track, but pair that with the piano part. It is cyclical and repetitious. There is a basic chord progression that is followed, but I feel like that's more just because that's Tom Waits' style, while also tying into this, loungy, playing at a bar or playing at a nightclub kind of vibe, the singer piano kind of concept. Basic 4 to 8 bar chord progressions are standard for that style, and since that's the style he's attempting to emulate here, again, intentionally trying to emulate. We've seen him accomplish this style perfectly before. It's all about tying into the atmosphere, right, of somebody drunk getting on the piano to play this. So like that fits in perfectly. I think that's why we have this simple melody line here, simple chord progression. But listen to the melody; it's very light on its feet. There's a lot of quick eighth notes and pickup notes, little grace notes into the downbeat strike. Bra that bra, that quick note into the core one, that's called a grace note. We hear that all throughout here, little plinks before we land on the core note that the beat is supposed to be emphasizing. And it makes it feel very bouncy and light on its feet, which is the complete opposite of the drunken stupor I would expect this guy to be walking around in, especially at this level of being drunk. And there's something very graceful about the piano bit that does not exist in the lyrics or the vocals at all. It is purposefully contrasting, and it makes me think, because this entire song is sung from the perspective of this drunken patron, that the music is also what the patron is hearing. He thinks he's playing this gorgeous melody line, and despite the slurring and the heavy emphasis on some of these syllables that imply drunkenness, it's still perfectly on pitch. And it makes me think this is all in his head and that everybody else listening is just getting fed up with how disgusting it sounds, random notes being played, singing out of key. Like, that's the actual reality of the situation. Whereas, much like how he isn't viewing reality as it is, by the piano drinking and his tie sleeping, he's not hearing the reality of his situation either. He's hearing his own drunken perception of it, which makes it sound like it's a lot more consonant of a song he's performing than it actually is. And again, I don't know if that is entirely intentional on his part, but it is the narrative I'm getting out of this. And I like how all this comes together. I don't really think there's much more to say about this. I think I've pretty much, nailed the concept here. Um, but Tom Waits, I'm really warming up to him. I had a hard time with Going Out West, but since then, I'm really digging it, and I think his simplicity is a huge boon. Whereas I think I spoke a little negatively about it when we did Going Out West, but I'm coming around to it. He really knows how to use sparseness to his advantage. So those are my thoughts on Tom Waits's "The Piano Has Been Drinking." This is where you guys come in. Hit me up with your thoughts and comments about this one, especially if you have any links to interviews about this specific song. I am curious if any of that secondary metaphorical stuff about the person being imperfect but refusing to see it, or about the music sounding really consonant but probably isn't. We're just hearing it from his perspective. If any of that was intentional, or if I'm, just reading into that, getting a little bit of extra that Tom didn't intentionally put in there. I'm curious about that. Above the comment section, there's a description box. In there is a link for Linktree. Take you to this menu right here. You can pick up some merch. You can follow me on Twitter. You can join the Discord. You can join the Patreon. Help support the channel and get some perks out of it, like voting on future themes and songs, getting early access to videos, and being able to join in on the Sunday live streams. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, like usual. We'll be moving on with our collaborations week, and we'll look at another special selection. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.